Happy Sunday, October 4th. Welcome to the Sunday NFL Kickoff Show right here on odds.com. Odds headquarters, a beautiful slate of action for us to attack today. Rob Bebeneck ready to get to work. We're packed in the chat. Rob, how are you, my man?
I am wonderful today, Jimmy, and I just got to kick this off right off the bat and say happy birthday, my man.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm happy to be here. I'm pumped up. I'm ready to get paid in full on my birthday. We got a great group of cappers in the chat. We start off with our guy, Anthony Mastronardi, who has a very tough time right now with his dad in ICU. But here joining our show, so much energy and love to your dad, Anthony, and to your family. Strength and love your way. And like any capper would say, I need a win today or two. Anthony Mastronardi, we have so much love for you and energy and prayers to your father. Trevor Ryan ready to get to work. Buzznuts 721. M. Stross is happy 50th. It's just 41, man. It's just 41. THC is Rizza ready to go. We got Top Set, Dav Fenn, Adam Lastman, Trey Franklin ready to eat, Tori Coker ready to go, Ethan Tran, Rambo's brother back in action. It's been a while. And he's on the Jags, a play I almost made. Dennis Garcia ready to go. Von Polo coming to us live from Las Vegas. Von Polo on vacation in Las Vegas. Captain 24/7. Lamont Williams, Mike Turner, Stephen Walton, Spenny Penny Bombs, Ryan Bronson, Dill Pickles, the Czar, North Ender, Danny Lopez, Mark Rosado. What a great group. Jeff Dean. What a great group. Stephen Walton, Pierre, Chili Dog Dooley. All right, we've got a ton of work to do. Let's get after it. There is Clint Starr, the diehard MMA podcast, Cash Action Bets, Mr. Know-It-All, my man Leo. Okay, and Trey Franklin. I love it, Trey. All right, we got a ton of work to do. Let's get after it. Thank you for the kind words. Let's go. Why don't we first review action? Bears plus 2.5. It, to me, at this point, feels like the only mistake I've made. At that time, I thought it was good, and there was 2s on the board. I thought it was going to go down to 2. There's a 3 now. A mistake. And I'm also prepared to cash with my Leche shirt on. Ready to cash. Ready to milk. Browns plus 4.5. I'm happy with. Dolphins plus 6.5. Happy with. Ravens first quarter -3. Ravens first half -6.5. Rams first half -6.5. Rams full game -13. I'm happy with it. There's a couple additions I want to make. Bebsy, let's go over your action and see how you feel about it. Because last week you were uncomfortable with your Cardinals look, and that proved to be bang on. Let's see here. Let me just get up to it. Here we go. Bebsy, your action is here. Right here. Browns plus 5.5. Steelers -2, which
is not happening.
Yeah, don't even worry about it. So Browns plus 5.5. Ravens first half team total over 14.5. Rams double up first half and full game. Bills first half -0.5 and Packers -7. Is there anything that makes you uncomfortable?
I think the only thing that makes me get uncomfortable is the Browns 5.5, and not because from like a betting standpoint, but it's a Browns standpoint. I mean, anytime you're riding with the Browns, you got to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but I still like to play.
Alrighty. Weather, market moves, that sort of thing. First off, we're going to start with the Colts Bears. I could have got the 3 on. There's a 3 available right now. It's nice weather. You're going to be 49 Fahrenheit in Chicago, 15 miles per hour wind. Not too cold yet. No worries there. Bears are 3-0 with wins over the Lions, Giants, and Falcons. They have a chance to go 4-0 for the first time since their 2006 Super Bowl team. They're the first team with 2 wins in the same season after trailing by 16 or more in the fourth quarter. You have Nick Foles now in control. Comes in the third quarter, 16 of 29, 188 yards, 3 touchdowns, gives them hope. They're getting a Jimmy Graham, whom we haven't seen in a while. Certainly not the Jimmy Graham that was playing for the Packers last year. Jimmy Graham this year, 3 touchdown passes on the catches on the season. And Tariq Cohen done for the season with an ACL tear, their backup running back. Colts enter week 4 with league's top overall defense, top 5 against the run and the pass, top 5 in sacks, top 5 in picks. Xavier Rhodes coming up AFC Defensive Player of the Week after picking off 2 and returning one of them for a touchdown. TJ Carey also scored on an interception. First time in 50 years they had 2 pick sixes in the same game. They have a safety in each of their past 2 games. First time they've done it since 1960. They're getting a lot of pressure from their front 4, which allows them to bring 7 back into defensive coverage, which just puts them in a great situation for anything that could come up. Now, Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman won't be available. They both had surgery this week, so it's T.Y. Hilton with Zach Pascal and Darius Fountain. Jack Doyle, their tight end, returned from injury last week. Yes, he returned from injury last week. Thank you. And Rocky Ya-Sin still dealing with the stomach illness that we're not sure about. And Jonathan Taylor, 13 carries for 59 yards in their easy win. Take it away. Is this an addition you might want to make, Colts Bears?
I'm still off this game because, again, it's a question mark at quarterback for both teams for me. I really want to ride with Big Dick Nick here just because it's fun. But I can't because I really don't think the Bears are that good. I think they could be. They need extremely good play from Nick Foles. They are better with Nick Foles than they are with Trubisky. But the Colts team is a very good team. They let Jacksonville catch them sleeping on week 1. And also, they've taken the ball out of Phillip Rivers' hands, which they got to do because that old man cannot throw anymore. They ride with Jonathan Taylor, and I still I'm leaning Indy in this, but I don't love a play either way.
What do you think about this total? Let me give you the market move on this total. It opened up at 44.5 down to 43.
I don't see it as a high scoring game, and I kind of see it sitting right where it's at. These guys are pros for a reason. This is not an easy call to make. If anything, I lean over now that it's gone down a little bit, but I don't love a play here at all.
Alrighty, so this is the lone mistake from my Tuesday action that I see right now. Probably should have had more patience. Hate that I didn't get the 3. And not only hate, but I'm embarrassed that I took the 2.5 when that half point is such a key number. Okay, let's move on to Jaguars, Bengals.
Also, does anybody know why that game was moved to 4? That's a 4:00 game now.
Is it a 4:00 game now? They switched it?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know why.
Probably because they lost the 4:00 game. Right? The Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
4:00. So that's the only thing I can think of.
Makes sense.
So I wanted the Jags, and I could have had them at +3, and I didn't take them, and I understand why. It's that they're a tough team to take money and bet on, and I wish I had done it on Tuesday. It's now 1.5s or 2s. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit with 2 spots on the slate where I could have cashed or could have had a 3 in my pocket. And I'm sitting with a 1.5 or 2.5. This total shot from 44.5 up to 49. Burrow being sacked a league high 14 times in the first 3 games, 8 last week. He was hit 18 times last week by the Eagles. He still went 31 for 44 for 312 yards, Mixon 17 runs for 49 yards. Tyler Boyd caught 10 passes for 125 yards. And John Ross, healthy and active last week. Very interesting situation going on with him. Bad news, no Geno Atkins, no Mike Daniels, both out for Sunday's game. I guess when it became official that they were out, money came in on the Jags quickly. Cincinnati, second to last in the league in rushing yards allowed. They've allowed an average of 181.6 yards per game on a league high 110 attempts against. Minshew and the Jags looked awful, but on Thursday, 31-13 loss, but they've had some extra time to prepare for this. Minshew goes 30 of 42 for 275 yards, 2 turnovers, 10 sacks. So that's tied for 4th in the NFL. He was sacked 4 times last week. Conley looked bad. Cam Robinson got kicked out of that game. We talked about it on Tuesday, and I don't think he should have. C.J. Henderson looked bad, their cornerback. Now they've lost Leon Jacobs for the season. James Robinson was a bright spot. So Shark is expected to be back this week, their receiver. They're down to their 3rd place kicker. They lost Lambeau in week 2. Brandon Wright strained hamstring. And now they have Hauschka, who's actually dealing with a knee injury. He's actually questionable, but he's going to be in the lineup. Daniel Okwali downgraded to out, and their starting center, Brandon Linder, out. This is a wild game. Jaguars, Bengals. Take it away, Bebsy.
I mean, the Jags, week 1 and week 2, they were underdogs, and they upset their opponents. Then they were the favorite, and they lose. Now they're the favorite again, the slight favorite, albeit, and I feel like I'm leaning towards Cincy. I'm leaning towards Burrow getting his first W this week. But again, it's a tough call. These are two bad and sort of unpredictable football teams. So for me, it's a no play. Not super interested in this action, not super interested in this game at all. Like at most, I might click on the highlights afterwards. I just don't care enough about either of these teams to be interested in a play. But man, it's Burrow versus Minshew. I guess that's the storyline. Minshew, the guy who may play himself into a starting role permanently, or are they still trying to tank for Trevor? I don't know. I think that's the Jets to lose at this point, but no idea where to lean here, to be honest with you. Even as I'm talking about it, I'm kind of leaning back towards the Jags winning this one. So for me, this is a no play. I really don't know what to expect from either team. Injuries on either side, no pressure on either side. Really slightly more pressure for Burrow, I think, just to look good as a first overall pick. But there's just nothing appealing to me in this.
And you agree with this market move from the total? It's shot up 5 points at some books, 44.5 to 49.5.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know how I feel about that at all. Opening at 46 and a half, and up to 49. I don't know why it's sliding up. I don't think either of these two teams is a particularly potent offense, but I'm riding with Al Cervic here. Two bad teams, stay off. Not interested in this game. Don't care. Don't know about this movement on the over here, but I just don't like it.
Takabi saying Joe Burrow will get his first win. Bebsy 13-4 in this young season, coming off a very, very strong start. 13-4. He's up 8.33 units. His ROI is at 49%. Let's move on to Browns, Cowboys. Well, we got in early. And I guess that's the only thing that you can feel good about with our bet, because I can understand, you spoke about it off the top. This might be a different Browns team, and they are healthier than they've been all year. Different Browns team than in the previous years. They're certainly more talented, and they have a workhorse in Nick Chubb. You got in at 5.5. Plus 5.5 at Fox Bet on Tuesday. I got a 4.5 at Bet365. And right now, those are not available. There are 4s on the board. The leading indicator books have moved to 3.5. And this total opened at 55.5 and is at 56 or 56.5. There hasn't been a lot of movement on this total. Takabi saying Dallas, one of the worst defensive teams in the league, coming off a 38-31 loss to the Seahawks. Dak, only the second quarterback in NFL history with back-to-back 450-yard games. Jameis Winston, the other. Dallas tied for the third worst turnover margin at -4. Zeke, ninth in rushing in the NFL at 219 yards a game. He only had 34 yards rushing on 14 carries against the Seahawks. Tyron Smith missed the past 2 games with a neck issue. That's hurt them badly. He could return today. That's a game-time decision. And then Aldon Smith, who hasn't played in 4 years, is so talented that he can just come in and roll. 3 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 4 quarterback hits in the pass defense in that game against the Seahawks. Leads the NFL with 4 sacks, 51.5 sacks in 62 career games. But Van Der Esch hurt, Sean Lee hurt, both out for at least 6 weeks. And now they have Joe Thomas as their starting middle linebacker, which is not good. Tori Coker saying, love the Browns today. Take the points. Browns coming off easy wins over the Bengals and Redskins. Nick Chubb, gone over 100 yards both the last 2 games. He's 4th in the NFL with 292 yards. Garrett, 2 sacks last week, a strip sack that sealed the game. He has 33.5 sacks in 40 games, and they're getting healthy. Denzel Ward started after being listed as questionable. He didn't play in the second half, but he's a game-time decision here. All righty, take it away, Bebsy. Browns, Cowboys.
Like I said off the top, the only thing that makes me uncomfortable is that I've actually bet on the Browns. And anytime you do that, you can't feel great because it's the fucking Browns. But with Dallas's defense being as bad as they have been, and they have been terrible, it speaks volumes that the best player on their defense right now is a guy who hasn't played football in 5 years. I can't put any faith in Dallas. I don't. Their offense, yeah, they've put up numbers, but they've put up numbers against some pretty awful defenses too. So I don't like the Cowboys at all this week. I'm leaning, but I'm playing Browns. I just think the matchup favors the Browns too much. I really think Chubb can carve up this defense. They don't really have to rely on Baker Mayfield, and I think the Dallas offense just isn't as good as everyone is. They're good. They're not as good as everyone's given them credit for. Tyron Smith playing or not playing is a huge, huge play. Game time decision, neck injury. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to play, but I still like my Browns play. I think I would still lean Browns even at -4. Happy I got in at 5.5 though.
Yeah, you got the Browns plus 5.5. I got them 4.5. You can still get the Browns plus 4. There are 3.5s at some of these leading indicator books. Okay, let's move on. And I can understand what you're saying about their offense. I mean, everybody, talking so highly about them, but I mean that Seahawks defense is abysmal.
They're atrocious. The Falcons, they're atrocious. I'm not super excited about their offense the way other people are, especially because Zeke hasn't really been rolling yet.
No, not yet. Not yet. And that will change if Tyron Smith is in front of him. We'll see if that happens. All right, let's move on to Saints-Lions. Saints-Lions. We had Eric Swiatek, a great capper out of Ohio, on the show, or not on the show, but in the chat last week. And he was on the Lions comfortably and confidently and got paid off for it against Arizona. Let's see what we're dealing with here. Saints-Lions. Saints opened up at -4. They're now -3s across the board. That -3 is at either +100 to -105. This total opened up at 55.5 and is down to 53.5. 53.5. Saints have lost consecutive games for the first time in 3 years. Kamara has been an absolute stud. Wow. And so he leads the Saints in rushing with 153 yards, 3 touchdowns. He leads the team in receiving with 27 catches, 285 yards, and 3 touchdowns. The Saints have struggled badly defensively the last 2 weeks after a nice performance against Brady and the Bucs in week 1. Michael Thomas practiced throughout the week, and he's been listed as out for Sunday. So Traquan Smith is expected to be the number 1 guy over Emmanuel Sanders. We'll see if that continues. Thomas, one of 6 Saints starters, ruled out. So here we go. Cornerbacks, Lattimore, Jenkins, hamstring and shoulder. Defensive end, Marcus Davenport, elbow, toe. Tight end, Jared Cook, groin. And left guard, Pete, ankle. Detroit just ended an 11-game, 11-month losing streak. Stafford finished the day 22 of 31, 270 yards, 2 TDs, and 0 picks in that 26-23 win over the Cardinals. Patricia now goes to 10-24-1. His defense looks strong. They got Golladay back after Golladay missed the first 2 games of the season. He looked good, 6 catches for 57 yards. 9 different players caught passes. Peterson goes for 75 yards. And very, very important, Trufant game time decision. Take it away, Bebsy, Saints-Lions.
As the injuries pile up on the Saints, this is kind of Detroit's starting to feel appealing to me. They're at home. They're healthier than the Saints. I also, I'm not high on Drew Brees right now. I think he's playing terrible. I think Alvin Kamara is the reason they've been competitive in these games. Like, he has been incredible. He got his money. He is worth it. He is electric. And really, all Drew Brees has to do is get him the ball right now, it seems. But I'm leaning Lions just with the number of injuries on this team. There's a few people mentioning TJ Hawkinson and his player props today. I don't know what they are. I don't have them in front of me, but I was high on TJ Hawkinson coming out of the draft. He was a little bit disappointing in year one, and I do think he is just going to continue to get better and better this year and become a focal point of this offense. So yeah, I'd lean Hawkinson. I'm leaning Detroit. It's just so hard to bet on the Detroit Lions as it is hard to bet on the Browns, but I just don't feel as confident in this position. But Dennis Garcia fading Nola all week or weekly. Yeah, I'm with him. I lean towards Detroit in this. It just feels like a big letdown year for the Saints with all the hype coming in, and a lot of it has to do with Drew Brees just not being the player he used to be. So lean Lions, don't love it. If I had to, gun to my head, I'd put it there, but I'm off this one as well.
That getting the 4 is crucial. The +4 is crucial. The +3 is, as Jin Rami used in the chat, it's just those numbers are so important. So I could understand missing the opportunity, and that's why our Tuesday night show is so important. Let's take a look at this Hawkinson prop right now. Bet365 is offering it at 44.5 yards. He caught 4 passes on 7 targets for 53 yards against the Cards in Week 3. In every game so far this year, he's caught for over 44.5 yards, and yet that's where they're putting the total receiving. He's caught for 56 yards Week 1, 62 Week 2, 53 Week 3, and now it's sitting at 44.5, which is a little fishy. A little fishy, especially with Lattimore and the Jenkins out. What do you think of that prop now after those stats, Pepsi?
I mean, I like it, and it has everything to do with me just backing Hawkinson and the fact that I think as time goes on, as I said, he is just going to become that safety valve for Stafford. The more he trusts him, the more he's just going to end up being like that Kittle-esque target. I'm not putting him in George Kittle category yet, but that, he's going to end up being in that Ertz, Kittle, Kelsey conversation. Maybe not this year, but probably next year. And this is the year where he really starts to just become that safety valve for Matt Stafford. So I would still be comfortable taking that prop bet.
This makes a lot of sense. That Hawkinson prop. It makes a ton of sense.
I don't know if Golladay being back influences that much. Man, he was phenomenal in college, and I was disappointed last year. Yeah, he got hurt early, and that'll hurt a rookie's development. But I'm big on this guy. I really, really dig Hawkinson, and I think he's just going to be a stud. So anytime you look at 44 yards, just seems pedestrian for him, to be honest with you. But we'll see.
Ari Miller. Seems like a really nice look, but Viper NB says don't do it. I'd love to hear Viper expand a little bit on that. Jamari Smith, Lions first half. All right, let's move on here. Next up, Seahawks, Dolphins. I can understand fear backing the fish, but this just seems like such a tough spot for the Seahawks. And I didn't get the 7. And I'm disappointed I didn't get some, but I got the 6.5. This is now down to 5.5 in almost every book. This total has gone from 54.5 to 56. Very interesting and a ton of moving parts here. Let's start going over them. First, we'll start with the 3-0 Seahawks. Wilson leads the NFL with 14 touchdown passes. It's the most after 3 games in league history. Seahawks have scored 111 points. Lockett rolling. 3 TD receptions in that 38-31 win. Then you have DK Metcalf. Today, he can become the 3rd player in league history to start the season with 4 consecutive games of at least 90 yards and a touchdown. Chris Carson is going to play. I know there's questions about Carson all week. Seahawks have allowed a league worst 431 yards per game. And now they have no Jamal Adams and no Quentin Dunbar. So you take out your starting strong safety and your starting cornerback. Then the backup safety, Lano Hill, questionable. They've already lost nickel cornerback Marquise Blair for the season. They'll also be without linebacker Jordan Brooks. He made his first start last week. They lost both starting guards in Upati and Damian Lewis. I mean, how do you not, after hearing that injury situation and knowing the Seahawks are flying all the way across the continent and this game is going to start at 10 a.m. for them, This was a pretty simple play. Flores' defense looked very good against Jacksonville. That might be easy, so let's not put too much stock into that. But they did look good. Fitzpatrick has this team believing. Gaskin leads the team with 152 yards rushing, averaging 4.6 yards per touch. Dolphins are averaging 3.8 yards per rush. They've only allowed 5 sacks. This revamped line has 2 rookies in it playing well in Austin Jackson and Solomon Kinley. And Byron Jones, their cornerback, is expected to be in the lineup. This is a pretty simple spot here. Dolphins plus 6.5 for me. What do you think, Bebsy?
I tend to agree with you, except for the fact that Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. He is just absolutely phenomenal, game in and game out. I think playing Carson's a mistake. I really do. Let him rest. He's so important to their offense, and you see how bogged down they got when he was out last year, but they do have players who can hold the fort down. I think this is a bad play to start him. I would just let him rest and let Carlos Hyde take the bulk of the ball or carries today. It's a weird play to rush him in, especially because your offense is just rolling. Their defense is the biggest problem for me, and that's why I lean Dolphins. It's a bad defense. Their best pass rusher is Jamal Adams, and Jamal Adams is out. That's such a sad statement when your best pass rusher is a safety and he's out. That's their defense is atrocious, and they're just getting worse by the minute. So for that reason, I wish I would have got in earlier and taken the Dolphins here. It's gone down too much for that pick to be as sexy, but yeah, like you said, traveling across the continent, playing early, banged up. This is a hard spot for Seattle. I still think they win again because of Russell Wilson. The guy is phenomenal, but don't like it. I don't like it. I'm leaning Dolphins here.
In all honesty, this total, I'm not going to get in the way of what I think is a winning bet. Dolphins plus 6.5, but this total, it's not like what the Cowboys were like. Let's go. Let's fight fire with fire. We have a bad defense, a strong offense. Let's go after Seattle and go score for score. The Dolphins aren't going to do that at all. Keep the ball away from us. Keep the ball. Flores is licking his chops to show what he thinks he can do. Now, I know Russell Wilson can ruin all that. I wish there was fans. If there were fans, and I know there are going to be 12,000, 10,000 fans, but I would love to bet the under here with it, and I expect it to go up. I expect in an hour for this to be 56 and a half. And I might be wrong on that. Let me just see what the movement has been on it so far. Yeah, so it's just gone up. But interestingly enough, it got hammered down. So it opened at 54, and for 3 days it was at 54, and then it got hammered down to 52 and a half, and that was 5 days ago. And I can understand why some people think that, and I think those, if they were sharps, they should have probably realized that the public's going to make this a huge overplay and that they should just wait. But very interesting that it did drop 1.5 for a couple days. And there's Torrey Coker on the under 55.5. Gerald Jones says, check the weather. Let's just do a quick weather update here in Miami. Sorry, let's go.
While you're looking that up, I do agree with you, the under being enticing here, just because I think Flores will try and coach this game instead of, like you said, Dallas trying to get into a shootout. They are going to try and keep the ball away from Russ. It'll just be a more tactical game in that sense, and I think that the under is kind of a sexy play here. But again, it's so hard to bet against Russ. Like, he's just been such a powerhouse so far this year. But injuries to that O-line, they're going to hurt the running game. They're not going to hurt the Russell Wilson game. It never has. you could put some JV kids on that line and Russell figured out. That's just how good he is. So neither play is super enticing for me. I do like you got in, right? You got in early on the on Miami.
I got in on Tuesday, right after the show at 6.5, and I like it. If you wanted to get in now, I could. The licensed books in America, almost all of them are hanging a 5.5, except for Fox Bet. Fox Bet's still hanging at the 6.
Yeah, I still don't love it enough to dive in here. Russell Wilson is so talented, it's hard to bet against him right now. And the Dolphins, they're not there yet. They're still growing. Fitzpatrick is one of those guys who will just be incredible one week and be incredibly terrible the next week. So I don't love the play. I lean Dolphins. I like that you got in early on the Dolphins, so at least this show is repping this game to some degree, but for me, it's a no play. And I lean under, but how do you bet against Russ?
I'm going to take the 6.5 points, and look, it's not going to be comfortable. Look, my voice almost broke. It's not going to be comfortable, but I like it. I like it at plus 6.5. Kevin Garrett's joining us. Says, what was the lean on Detroit Saints? The lean is pretty simple. Detroit plus 4 would have been a move, but at 3, I should have probably jumped on Tuesday. And Ari Miller talked about the TJ Hawkinson prop at 44.5 yards. He's gone over 44.5 yards, not by a ton, but by at least by between 10 and 20 yards each game. And so that was and there's Ari Miller talking about right there. Okay, he's also on the Fitzmagic over yards prop. Fitzmagic over yards. That's another interesting look for Ari. Why don't we just pull this up very, very quickly and see what we are getting? Ari, a couple nice looks here. Fitzy, and he only needed 160 yards passing against the Jags. It was his smartest game I've ever seen him play. 288.5 yards passing Fitz needs. Man.
I mean, it's kind of hard not to like that. This Seattle defense has just been bad, and now they're hurt. Like it's Bobby Wagner or bust right now for them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Al Cervic says Jimmy loves to sweat mediocre teams. Look, I don't mind betting on the shit teams. I don't mind bum fights. I don't mind them. Whatever gets you paid. Let's move on to Chargers Bucks. Chargers Bucks. What an interesting game this is going. I love this card this week. I think there's very, very fun games. Bucks open up at -7. They've been there all week. Now, juice has been coming in on the Bucks, and a couple leading indicator books have moved it to 7.5. This total has been dropping, and I wish I had got in on it early. 45.5, now 42 or 42.5 for Chargers. Buccaneers. Brady 17-2 in the regular season during his career, and a 12-game winning streak against rookie QB selected in the first round. So we have Herbert at 22 years old, Tom Brady at 43 years old. It's the first time since at least 1950 that there's a 20-year age gap between opposing starting quarterbacks. Brady looked good against the Broncos in Denver, 297 yards, 3 TDs, 8 different players caught passes. Gronk got into the act. Godwin, Fournette ruled out. Cornerback Sean Murphy-Bunting returned to full strength. Now we go over to these Chargers. Herbert going to make his third start, and he's not going to have an important receiver, and he's not going to have a pair of offensive linemen. So he will have Keenan Allen. He will have Hunter Henry. He will have Austin Eckler. Ruled out, as you know, Tyrod, but also Bulaga and Trey Turner and Mike Williams. So those are the 2 linemen and the receiver. Chargers dealing with injury problems already. No Derwin James, no Mike Pouncey, safety and center. They're both out for the season. And then no Melvin Ingram, no Chris Harris Jr., if that was a healthier defense, I would have probably pulled the trigger on Tuesday on the under. Here we go. Chargers, Buccaneers. Take it away, Bebsy.
Well, I do have problems with one stat you threw out there. You said Brady is 12-0 against rookie quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Belichick is 12-0 against rookie quarterbacks drafted in the first round. Brady doesn't play against the quarterbacks. Belichick's defense does. So
Sure.
that's a bullshit stat. Having said that, it's hard not to take Tampa right now, just with the injuries on the Chargers defense. Tom just has to not fuck up. That's all. It's Brady Bebsy betting against the Bucks. No, I'm not betting at all in this, but I am leaning towards the Bucks, even though I think Tom Brady is maybe the 8th or 9th best quarterback of all time. Yeah, it's hard not to bet against this wounded Chargers team right now with a rookie quarterback who. He's been good. And you and I said the exact same thing about his first start, and his second start surprised both of us. We really thought he was going to play worse. He played well. I kind of like Herbert looking good in this one, but I got to go. For me, it's Tampa Bay or no play.
Yeah.
For me, it's no play, but if you're sitting there being like, I just need to bet this game, it's Tampa for me. If you gotta do it,
I also, I mean, it's tough to believe these weather charts, but I don't believe it'll rain all game. I know that there have been showers this morning, but it's supposed to become isolated throughout the game. Dennis says the under was a play earlier in the week. Absolutely. We got Beach Boss joining us as well. And a great stat from our strategic investments. A great capper says over 7-1 Chargers last 8 road games versus a team with a winning home record. Jason Falk, Keenan Allen props worth a look. The young kid depends on Allen's vanilla roots. Game script should play into that. Keenan Allen. And without Mike Williams, might be a spot. Let's just take a look at what the Keenan Allen prop is at. We are doing well for pace here to get through all these games. Let's go receiving yards here. And Keenan Allen at 64.5 receiving yards. Hunter Henry, 48.5 receiving yards. Austin Eckler, 37.5 receiving yards. They're giving a lot of respect to the two things, I think, here. Obviously, the Tampa defense and the weather.
Well, that's the thing, is that all the talk about Tampa was because Brady went there and, then Gronk followed Brady there. But the Tampa defense does not get enough credit. They are a sneaky good defense. Devin White is an absolute beast. They've got a sexy front that nobody talks about. And they got a solid secondary. So, man, Tampa's D is going to, I think, over the course of the year, start to get a little more respect.
Yeah.
However, I still don't love the number on this game. That's what keeps me off. I think the spread is a little bit high, but like I said before, I lean Tampa, even though they have like the 11th best quarterback of all time.
It's getting worse as the show's going on.
Look, I can name 4 or 5 quarterbacks off the top of my head that are better than him that start with the letter M,
Okay, let's go into your team total move. Let's go to Bebsy's first look on the game. Bebsy made a move on the Ravens team total over 14.5. First half team total over 14.5. I'm going to bring this up. I don't know why I can't get it right now. What the hell is this? Team total. Okay, it's just I can't find it. All right. Bebsy, first half team total over 14.5. You got that at plus 100. We will see if that market has moved. I moved on the Ravens first quarter minus 3.5 and first half minus 6.5. And those aren't available anymore. Ravens now for the first half are minus 7.5, and that's juiced to minus 120. Actually, the first quarter is still available, but it's minus 125. And that's at Bet365. All right, Lamar Jackson was completely outplayed by Patrick Mahomes on the Monday Night Showdown. And Birdie brought some really relevant statistics about how in the situation last year, the Ravens didn't go out and smash after a disappointing, embarrassing loss. But it's Jackson, who is completely embarrassed. And I know even if he has a big game, they'll say, oh, whatever, Jackson can step up against shit teams. He only had 97 passing yards on 28 attempts. That's a career low of 3.5 yards per attempt. And Jackson, in the Jackson era, the Ravens are 0-6 when trailing in any game by 10 points or more. Mark Andrews, who had looked so good coming into that game, or what? Not really. It's now 2 weeks in a row where Mark Andrews hasn't been as good. In the last 2 weeks combined, 4 receptions for 51 yards and no TDs. Dobbins was the best receiver against the Chiefs, 4 catches for 38 yards. Now let's go to the Skins, or the Washington football team. Haskins, 3 interceptions and a fumble lost in that 34-20 loss at Cleveland. They're 1-2. He ends up going 21-37 for 224 yards, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions. Terry McLaurin has a nice game, 4 receptions for 83 yards. He did not practice. He's officially questionable. So he did not practice Friday. He hurt himself in practice Thursday. Chase Young ruled out because of a groin injury. Ravens, Skins. I'm going to pull up that first half team total. For some reason, I couldn't grab it right away, and I didn't want to sit there looking for it. How do you feel about that team total, and how do you feel about this spot, Ravens, Washington?
Despite history, I do like the Ravens coming out hot in this one. I just think they get bogged down against very good teams, and I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's a Lamar Jackson thing. I just think that they come out rolling against bad teams, and Washington is a bad team, except for that defensive front, which I think is phenomenal. I expect them to come out with a great game plan this week, and that's why I liked that over. That's why I like the team total first half over. But I don't like the full game play here because I feel like they could jump out on Washington here and then just kind of hang. So with such a giant line, it's just not appealing to me at all. And that's, again, that's why I jumped on that team total over.
And by the way, I forgot, I don't know why it took me so long. You smashed that. That's 16.5 now. So you got 14.5 at plus 100. It's now 16.5 at minus 120.
Yeah, I mean, I love where I'm sitting with that pick or that play rather, but I don't like anything else in this game, to be honest with you. I just like them coming out hot against this, let's face it, bad Washington football team, except for that defensive front. But the loss of Chase Young is going to really hurt them.
I think the groin must have been, or the hamstring or whatever it was, must have been affecting him in that game because he was not looking good in that game before he left. So that must be what happened. So my action correlates with Bebsy's. I have first quarter minus. Oh wow! You know what? I have first quarter minus. Do I really have first quarter minus 3.5? Because that's at minus 3. So that will have moved against me. Sorry, that's just becoming clear. Wow. I did not expect. That's a huge half point. No, I have first quarter minus 3 at minus 120. Thank God. Okay. I have 3.5 here, but I have first quarter minus 3 minus 120. Jesus. Okay. I was like, did I really? Who would make a 3.5 point first quarter bet? So I've
a very excited. Give me the bag.
No, I don't. Ravens first quarter minus 3 at minus 120. Ravens first half minus 6.5 at minus 115. We beat all the market moves in that game. All righty. The Czar says, Jimmy, that's not sharp. So we'll see. First quarter minus 3, first half minus 6.5. Or are you talking about the minus 3.5 is not sharp? Yes. Maybe you're talking about both. Let's move on. All right. Cardinals, Panthers. I didn't take the Panthers last week. I talked about how badly I wanted them, and I just didn't have the balls. And I'm still angry, still upset that I didn't do that, still eating away at me.
You can't let that influence your picks, Jimmy.
Well, I'm not going to take Carolina here just because Arizona could be angry. But Kawan Short is playing. We're going to break everything down here. Cardinals open up at -3.5. Now they're -3, and I get it. And even if the 3.5 was available with this angry Cardinal squad, I don't know if I would take the Panthers here. Let's talk about the Cardinals first, coming off that disappointing 26-23 loss at home to the Lions. Murray throws for 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, ran for a score, but 3 interceptions. Hopkins continues to dominate, leads the NFL with 32 receptions, 356 yards receiving. Also has an NFL high 21 catches that have resulted in a first down. Kenyon Drake, 18 carries for 73 yards. Here we go. Cardinals' top 3 safeties on the sidelines. Buda Baker, thumb surgery. Jalen Thompson, ankle, and Chris Banjo, hamstring, all hurt. So it'll be Deontay Thompson and Charles Washington. And Teddy could take advantage. Sweaty Butcher says, I'm high on the Cards. Cash action bets Carolina and the under. Ron Lofton loving the under in this game. Kawan Short going to be in the lineup. And while he was out, we saw the emergence of 7th overall pick Derek Brown. He did not look good in the first 2 games. He looked really good in game 3. And now you're going to have Derek Brown, stopping the run, Kawan Short in the lineup. This is going to be a different Panthers team than we've seen with those 2 guys beside each other and the emergence of Brown. Bridgewater goes 22-28 for 235 yards and a touchdown in that win over the Chargers. Carolina snapped a 10-game losing streak dating back to last season. They had not recorded a sack and had allowed 65 points in the first 2 games. And then Derek Brown stepped up, and that changed. They sacked Herbert twice, converted 3 turnovers for 12 points, and Mike Davis, 91 yards from scrimmage with McCaffrey out, 46 rushing, 45 receiving. What do you think here? Cardinals, Panthers sitting here as 3-point dogs.
I'm kind of leaning towards Carolina. I know you didn't play them last week and that upsets you, and maybe you're considering locking this in today, but that's kind of where I lean, especially with the injury to Buda Baker. People are asking, is Nuke playing? I didn't realize that was a question. What's up with DeAndre Hopkins? Why are people? How did I miss this?
I have Hopkins. I have Hopkins good to go. Everything fine. I'll double check that. Why don't you keep rolling?
Yeah, I just obviously if Hopkins is out or even not at 100%, that's another reason to lean Carolina for me. I really want to put some love behind Teddy Bridgewater. I've always liked him. Is he on both as well? What the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, Hopkins active.
Yeah, okay. I don't know where
ankle, so he didn't practice all week with the ankle injury, but
okay, it's probably preventative stuff. But yeah, I lean Panthers here just because I feel like Arizona was getting some undue love, and it's why I was skeptical about taking them last week. I didn't like the play. I should have flipped my bet on that because as the week went on, I realized how much of a trap it was and how much I hated that play, and it turned out to be as such. I just think they got so much credit for that week 1 beat on the Niners. And if you watch that game, you would know that was not an impressive beat. That was the Niners shooting themselves in the foot all day. So, man, even with Christian McCaffrey out, I was wrong about that offense shutting down without him. They still looked good. They still were able to find weapons to move that ball. So I'm kind of leaning Panthers on this because, Buda Baker is so important to that defense. He's kind of the energy of that defense. The way I'm not going to compare him to like a Troy Polamalu or something, but he is that influence on the team. They love him. He's such an important piece. So for that, I lean Panthers, but it's so early, and I'm still trying to figure out what Carolina is, especially without McCaffrey, and what Arizona is, period. I thought coming into the season they were overrated. They rolled out to a 2-0 start. People were buying into the hype. I did for like 2 days and realized what a stupid idea that was. So I'm staying off of this game until I know a little bit more about these teams. I just don't love it.
I also think we shouldn't take too much information from how bad the Panthers' run defense was in the first 2 games of the season. And looking at their stats overall from the year, especially with Quan Short coming back. So I'm not going to back the Panthers here. And even if the 3.5 was still on the board, Cardinals come out angry, and it's a very slippery slope when you back a team coming off a big win against a team coming off embarrassing loss. All right, let's move on. Beach Boss says Panthers suck and gonna suck all year. I'm not saying the Panthers are a great team or anything like that, but watch what happens with Kawan and Derek on the field together. All right, let's move on to Vikings, Texans. Vikings had their facility closed Tuesday and Wednesday. They didn't practice Wednesday. Thankfully, because they dealt with this sort of thing earlier in the year, it's pretty easy to pull out the iPads and still get work done here and still make plans. Let's see what we are dealing with here. Texans opened up at -4. They're now -3.5. This total opened up at 52. It's now at 53.5 or 54. I came close to taking the Texans on Tuesday, and I held off. And I might pull the trigger after we discuss this a little more. Vikings had 464 yards in that 31-30 loss to Tennessee that tripled their output from the Colts game. Justin Jefferson stepped up, and they needed that badly after losing Stephon Diggs. 7 catches for 175 yards and a touchdown. Dalvin Cook, third in the NFL in rush yards after 181 yards, last week in that loss to Tennessee. Danielle Hunter and Anthony Barr on injured reserve, and the Vikings have no pass rush at all. And this is an angry 0-3 Texans team that lost to the Chiefs, Ravens, and Steelers, and now get to play the Vikings. And I wish the Vikings weren't 0-3 trash. I wish I could get a 3. Houston, tough first few weeks. Remember in 2018, they opened up 0-3, rallied to win the AFC South. They managed just 51 yards and 2 first downs over the final 30 minutes in the second half against the Steelers. Watson, 19-27, 264 yards. Cobb, 4 passes for 95 yards. Fuller, 4 catches for 54 yards. It's David Johnson who looks so bad. He runs 13 times for 23 yards. Houston now ranks 31st in the NFL in yards rushing with just 66 a game. 118 yards rushing in their opener with David Johnson. When David Johnson ran for 77 yards. And since then, nothing. 80 yards combined in the past 2 games. They're averaging 1.77 yards a carry against. Wow. I mean, that's. Wow. Okay.
It's abysmal.
It's so bad that I almost have to read it twice. All right. There you go. And that 1.77 yards a carry was just last week against the Steelers, who we know have such a strong defense. I still think the Texans, I just don't want the 3.5. Take it away. Vikings, Texans 3.5-point favorites.
I mean, I feel the same way with you about this. It's hard to bet on an 0-3 team, period. But we did mention like the Vikings or the Texans nobody's had a more difficult schedule to start the season than them. They play the Chiefs week 1, they play the Ravens week 2, and then last week they play the Steelers, who I still think is one of the most underrated teams in football. I don't know why people aren't hotter on the Steelers right now, but they're not. Whatever. They're not even playing this week, so who cares? But you gotta feel like Houston can play in this spot. They had such a difficult schedule so far. This is the first bad team they're playing. And especially with the Vikings missing 2 practices this week, that's going to affect. I mean, I don't care that they have tablets and they can still learn from home. It's just a hard play to like a team that missed 2 practices in a week. The whole team shut down because of the COVID scare from playing Tennessee. Now, good news, nobody tested positive, which I'm surprised because these guys hug each other and shit out there. So amazing that none of them got sick, but I just think it's Houston or nothing today.
No doubt about it. The Vikings need this so badly. I really think the Texans should just take care of business out there. Do you trust this Houston Texans defense to shut down the playmakers on the Vikes?
No, but I also don't think like Dalvin Cook's not going for 181 again today. Like I do believe if anything, last week was a anomaly for their offense. A lot of these guys are making a great point and fading Kirk Cousins on the road in a must-win game. I don't like the Vikings this year at all, and I was pretty low on Houston to start the year, and I still am. It has to be. You have to win today, Houston. You have to win. You have to win. 3.5. I don't like it enough to jump on it, but it just feels like they need to win this game, shut this down. They need, Watt to step up and plug up that front and do something. They've just look. Bill O'Brien's getting fired at the end of this year. I'm willing to bet on that, but this game they have to win.
I can't pull the trigger on the 3.5. What do you think about this total here? Let me pull it up. Opened at 52, is up to 53.5 and 54. Joe Yurkovich says, are these defenses that bad to warrant a 53.5 total?
Yeah, I got the same question as Joe here. Like, are they that bad, or have they just played considerably better teams? I do believe Minnesota's defense is that bad with all the injuries and all the missing players that are gone from last year's team. I do believe they are that bad. I wonder if Houston's defense is that bad because they've looked awful, but again, they have played incredibly good teams and their offense has not helped them out, i.e. keeping them on the field for too much of the game.
JJ called out the entire defense with how they're getting just beaten up in the second half of games on the run. So Watt calls the whole defense out, says that can't happen. And now they go up against Dalvin Cook.
But I mean, therein lies. That's exactly what I just said. Their second half they fall apart, but they're exhausted. Their offense has not been able to stay on the field, and you see that if a defense is good in the first half and falls apart in the second half, it's usually because they're tired, because they can't keep up. Time and again, you see these decent defenses that just get exhausted. If you're on the field the whole time, you just get burnt out. And their offense has not been good, large in part because of the absence of DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right. I just can't. I mean, free pick, free bet. I'll take the Texans.
Sure.
I just can't. And even that first half's at -2.5. Al Cervix says, I side Vikes. More talented offense. Two bad teams. Watson better than Cousins, no doubt. But Vikes have more weapons. And AJS talking about Cook, Jefferson, Thielen.
It'll be interesting to see. You will learn a lot about the Texans defense today because I believe their offense should be able to stay on the field a little longer today. So they won't be as tired out because let's face it, the Minnesota defense is bad. There's too many guys missing for them to be good. So you'll get a better indication of what kind of Texans defense you're dealing with now because they should not be exhausted by the second half.
Those are the 1:00 games, all capped and locked in. Of those 1:00 games, Bebsy, you have one spot that Ravens first half team total over. That's your one spot.
No, I got Cleveland as well.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I'm just going to have Cleveland as well. Yes. Okay, so you have Browns plus 5.5 that you got on Tuesday, and Ravens team total at over 14.5.
Had that Steelers game too, and I hate that that's off the board because I thought that was such an easy play.
And you got a good line there. Good line there. That's so Bebsy sitting at 13-4 on the season, up 8.33 units, and those are his two looks. And man, wow, how important is our Tuesday show? Locking in plays in action. Bebsy got over 14.5 team total first half at plus 100, and it's now 16.5 at -120. Coactus cashing with Swiss Skydive. What a unbelievable day of horse racing yesterday, and congratulations, Coactus. So glad to hear that you cashed. And thank you, Vincente Gigante, for the kind words about the birthday. Bears plus 2.5. I'm on, and that's my embarrassed spot on the card. The 3 is available now, and I got the 4.5 on the Browns, plus 4.5. I got that on Thursday night. Bet365. All this action will be what the bets I placed that are on Bet365. So these are the odds I'm going to give out. Dolphins plus 6.5 at -110. That was on Tuesday night as well. And then I have the double up. Ravens first quarter -3. Ravens first half -6.5. That is my double up. So those are the 1 p.m. games. Let's move on to the 4:05 games. We're going to start with Giants, Rams, and here we go with double ups. Double ups from Bebsy and I. Double ups on the Rams. Bebsy first half -6.5, full game -12.5. And I got the 6.5. Let me just make sure that I got the -6.5 heavily juiced, and the full game at -13. So right now, the Rams are at -13.5 full game. And let's see what they are first half. The Rams have moved to -7.5 first half. So we beat that by a full point. I'm in love with I enjoy the Tuesday night show immensely, and I love beating these market moves, and I'm embarrassed that I didn't beat it in the Bears game. Let's stop talking about that. Giants, Rams, let's go. Bebsy and I both doubled up here. Rams have gained at least 400 yards in all 3 games. It just felt like the travel got to them against the Bills. I was on the Bills. They started out ice cold, and then in that second half, it really felt like the Rams were the better football team. Would have been the 3rd largest comeback in NFL regular season history. Goff goes 23 of 32 for 321 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. LA is in the NFL's top 4 in total yards at 449.7 a game. Rushing at 170.3 a game. Third down conversions at 56.4%, and time of possession at 33.01. They're averaging 29.7 points per game. Aaron Donald, 3 sacks, 8 quarterback hits in the Rams' first 3 games. And who's he going up against? Will Henderson or Nick Gates? It's going to be a field day. Garrett's group in New York is terrible. Terrible. They're the bottom 3 in total yards, 273.3 game, rushing 56.7 game, red zone 33.3%. They have the ball for 24 minutes and 41 seconds a game. They're averaging 12.7 points per game. They have a total of 3 touchdowns. They haven't had a lead since the first half of their season opener. They didn't run a play in the red zone last week against San Francisco. Their leading rusher is their quarterback. I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
They're terrible, Jimmy. They're terrible.
Terrible. 49ers last weekend against them, New York got 1 stop while allowing 7 scores.
No, they got 0 stops. The only drive that they, quote, stopped was a missed field goal. 0 punts. 0 punts against backups. They were playing the backups.
They've allowed opponents to convert 58.1% of third down chances, and they're going up against the Rams, who convert 56.4 already. That's top in the NFL by a huge amount. And there's no Jabril Peppers.
The Giants at home got the absolute shit kicked out of them by the 49ers second and third string players. That is just terrible. That's so bad. I mean, I just feel like, I mean, we got on it early, and I still think it's in play here to double up on this. This is an awful Giants team that has shown me no reason to bet, to have any faith in them to be competitive. Even they just look horrible. They had one weapon. That weapon is now on IR. You know what? I'm almost happy for Saquon that he doesn't have to play the rest of this year. Just a bad football team, and the Rams should kick the absolute shit out of them.
Yeah, Joe Yurgowitz says sounds like a team total over for me. Again, I don't want to make moves on Sunday when I know we would have smashed that market move had I got in earlier. So it does make a ton of sense. Let's just look at what it is it's 31.5. I also have a rule that I should probably cut this year. Not wanting team totals over 29.5. It's the same thing I do with NBA player props at 29.5, but That seems ready to go. Ron Walsek says rain stopped in Tampa. Beautiful day. Maybe not for Herbert, though. That's what I was saying about the weather there. I thought that it was going to clear up. There was on Tuesday, and I didn't want to say it because they're always so wrong on Tuesday compared to Sunday. But Tuesday, there were like showers throughout the game. I was like, well, let's wait and see. Yeah, Jordy, I'm on the Rams in the Survivor as well. Giants-Rams, look, I don't mind it at all now. But Bebsy got 12.5. I got 13. It's 13.5 now, which isn't a big deal. And then we got the 6.5 in the first half. So I like it. It's
Prince of the Cities. I love how rattled you guys get when I shit talk Brady. You make me want to do it more.
okay. All right. Well, that's double ups for Bebsy and I.
And yeah,
All right.
Nilo, this is an adult beverage, to answer your earlier question.
Nice. I respect that. I will be partaking myself at some point today, as it is.
It's afternoon. It's time.
It is time. Let's go Bills Raiders. This is another look Bebsy locked in, and we were shocked at the line being available. Although I want the Raiders in this game, and I've been waiting patiently, staring at the board, waiting for a 3.5. Bills at Raiders. Bebsy got Bills first half -0.5, which one book was laying, and so he pounced on that. Damn. So it's moved. There's been 5-cent move on the Raiders. I was thinking, which means that first half. So I was offered. I could have before the show taken the Raiders plus 3.5 at -120. Now Raiders plus 3.5 is -125. God damn it. Okay, let's break this down. Allen is throwing for 1,038 yards, 10 touchdowns. Bills 3 straight wins. He bailed out the Bills. 15 seconds remaining. He just seems so focused and in tune and confident. Stephon Diggs being an excellent addition. Beasley caught 6 passes for 100 yards. Gabriel Davis stepping up as soon as John Brown injured the calf in the first half. He is expected to play this week, but Gabriel Davis stepped up. Singletary ran 13 times for 71 yards. Let's talk about these Raiders. Trent Brown and Henry Ruggs, doubtful. So they've been downgraded to doubtful. I don't expect them to be in the lineup. Dennis Garcia has the Raiders plus 3.5 -120. I should have taken it before the show started. Now it's a -125. Raiders defense looked poor against New England. They couldn't stop the run game. They could do nothing in the red zone after being so successful early in the season. They went 2 for 5 in the red zone, 3 and 9 in third down. Their offensive line is beat up, and Darren Waller was completely neutralized by the Patriots. And at this point, with Ruggs hurt, if you could neutralize Waller, who beats you? The answer is probably no one. Bills.
Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, take it away, my man.
The man with the accountant's body. Look, I love the way, and I said this on Tuesday, I love the way the Bills have started games this year. I don't love the way they finish it. It's like they come out, start pounding a team, and then take the foot off the gas. And again, Vegas has a decent offense, and I like them. Their defense has been pretty underwhelming, we'll say. I don't think they've been terrible, but they've been underwhelming. That's why I like this first half play for the Bills. There's no play for me full game, just because every single game this year, the Bills have shot out to an incredible lead, and you're like, oh man, this is going to be a bloodbath, and then it winds up being a tighter game towards the end. So I just not interested in the full game here. Still can't believe I got a half point for the first half. That's ridiculous, but yeah, I think your first half is in play here. That's all I can really say with confidence this week.
Yeah, I get it. Moss listed as questionable, by the way, but Singletary can keep the fort going. Birdie says, last time I will try and change your mind. Raiders banged up in the secondary. Raiders have Chiefs on deck. This is not a good spot for the Raiders.
Are you trying to change my mind, Birdie?
No, Birdie's trying to change my mind.
Okay, yeah. Because I agree. I agree with what he's saying. But again, it's that foot off the gas thing that the Bills have been doing that makes me worried about what they're going to do. I just feel like the Raiders could close the gap in the second half, but I think first half it's just going to be a pump show from the Bills.
Ravi and Joe Yurkovich on the team total under for the Raiders. I get okay. The problem here is I don't want the minus 125. So, okay, Paco. I was wondering if that's facts. And Chiefs on deck. I mean, at that point, I mean, is this a letdown spot for both clubs? I mean, what would I get on the under right now? 53. What do you think of that total of 53?
Well, the Raiders defense is not a very good defense. I'm not going to say they're bad. I still have a little bit of faith in them, but they're not. I will say they are not good. So I do believe that the Bills can put up points, and again, I don't know. I chalked it up to injuries on the defense in week 1, but they've been relatively healthy. I mean, these guys are playing hurt, so maybe that's it. I just don't. Ronnie Stanley inactive Ravens. That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I do believe these teams can put up points, but if Ruggs is out and Trent Brown is out, and this Bills D is healthy, then the play's the under for me. But is it their game time decisions? Are they not?
No, they've been downgraded to doubt. Brown and Ruggs have been downgraded to doubtful.
I mean, Birdie and I are lockstep on this. I think he's absolutely right. Bills are learning to be a team that can smash other teams. It is not easier when you're not a team that is used to getting 25-point leads in the first half. Bills are legit until next week. I like the Bills this year. I didn't think they were getting any respect preseason. I just need to see them close out games. I need to see them continue to smash teams before I can confidently say they're going to smash teams.
We got Buck Nasty on our odds 110 Periscope. Thank you for joining us, Buck Nasty. All right, I've taken it off. I mean, if I'm needing this extra half point, I was wondering if I could get it at minus 115 when it was minus 120 before the show. I don't want it at minus 125.
Hey, Raiders undefeated in their new home. Huh?
Okay, all right. Let's move on to the night game, Eagles, Niners. John Ryan has joined the odds.com team, the Odds Squad, and he has a bunch of different systems. And it's great working with him. The guy's, a veteran of the industry and in the game. And one of his systems here is 27-1 on the money line. And the system says, bet the Niners on the money line, which, I mean, a pretty simple look here. But it is 27-1 if you're interested. This system that equates to this game for the Niners, Eagles. And he's got a great video on this spot on the odds.com YouTube page. Let's talk about Eagles, Niners. And is this just
Yo, Jimmy, I think your mic cut out, buddy.
about that? Is my back in action?
Yeah, there you're good. You back.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. So the first half for the Niners opened at 3.5. Now it's 4.5. This full game is now at 9 or 9.5. It opened at -6, and it was even -7 on Friday. So money's just pouring in on the Niners right now. Carson Wentz has the lowest passing rating in the NFL at 63.9, committed the most turnovers in the NFL with 7, 2 more picks against the Bengals in that 23-23 tie. The one thing that John Ryan was talking about was how Peterson is this coach that takes chances. You always see him taking chances, and he was taking no chances. He was basically playing for the tie, which was absolutely shocking. Wentz is throwing multiple picks in 3 consecutive games, so Peterson obviously doesn't believe in this team. Miles Sanders has 190 yards rushing in 2 games, averaging 5 yards per carry, but he ran the ball 3 times out of 15 offensive plays in overtime against Cincinnati, and Peterson saying, oh, he's tired. He's tired in the fourth quarter. He didn't have a preseason. The Eagles have not forced any turnovers on defense through 13 quarters this season. Goddard now on injured reserve. Deshaun Jackson on injured reserve. I mean, what an absolute mess this team is. And then you have Mullins. Mullins, 343 yards and a touchdown last week. He has 2,620 yards in 9 starts. Only Patrick Mahomes and Andrew Luck have thrown for more yards after 9 starts of his career. Niners outgained the Giants. I mean, we don't even need to get to these numbers. They're just ridiculous. 420 to 231. They had the ball for 39 minutes, 44 seconds. But they're decimated with injuries. And you know all about the injuries, and you can break it down better than anyone else. But they're getting Kittle and Samuel back this week. I've been told, take it away. And we missed the line, obviously. I'm not, even though I don't, the Niners could beat them by 14. Still, I'm not going to take a line that we could have got at 6. That's now at 9. But take it away. Eagles, Niners, Bebsy.
Well, first of all, there's been so many questions about this. I feel like I need to address this. People have said Willy Wonka beer. People want to know if it's an IPA. It is an IPA. It's a local Toronto brewery, Bellwoods Brewery. The beer is called Jitsu. Yes, it is an IPA. Back to football. Look, we said on Tuesday the play was to jump on the line early because Debo and Kittle were still listed as questionable. Then they are good to go. That's, I think, where you see that shift in the line. But look, they are so talented and deep. Like you saw them, it's the Jets and the Giants. You can't put too much stock into that, but Shanahan can make this offense put up points and move the ball with just about anybody. Getting those guys back is huge. And Wentz is in his own head. He's missing open targets. Now that he's without Goddard, like you said, Jackson's on the reserve. It's just this Philadelphia team is not as good, even with all their injuries. They're not the Super Bowl team they were a few years ago, and they've been floated on that, I think, quite a bit. But this is really just, it should be a beatdown for the Niners. I think the play was getting on it earlier in the week before the line went up. So for me, I still don't love the play. Again, it's hard to say what the Niners are going to be because they've played terrible teams. They've had a really easy start to the year. I think Philadelphia is another one of those easy games. But here's a fun stat. Most passing yards for a quarterback in their first 9 NFL starts since 1950. Number 1, Pat Mahomes, 2,810 yards. Number 2, Andrew Luck, Colts, 2,631 yards. Number 3, Nick Mullins, 2,620 yards. Mullins, baby, believe it.
Wow, I didn't realize how long I must have had been muted on because I gave that stat out. So
you did.
But how long was I muted? It must have been
you were muted for 30 seconds.
Okay.
I just thought I was having an aneurysm or a stroke, so I just was like, "Oh, this is me. This is on me." And then I was like, "Maybe I'll float it out there. This is on you." But
okay, let's talk about this total. I mean, I got the Giants Niners over. The Giants put up 9 points. This total opened up 43. It's now 45.5. It's too late for me to take the over. Can you review the Niners injuries?
So the Niners injuries are largely defensive now. On offense, they are still without Raheem Mostert, which is huge. Tevin Coleman, which I don't think is huge. I actually think the the running backs that are in today's game are all better than Tevin Coleman. And then Richburg, which he was on the PUP to start the year, so they knew they weren't going to have him. And then Jordan Reed. So Jordan Reed's injury sucks because, man, I think everyone is waiting to see Reed and Kittle in the lineup together, healthy, playing. You got a little bit of it week 1, but they were kind of trying to ease Reed back into action, so you didn't see it. And now he's out for 6 to 8 weeks, I think. So this is speaking relative to the team, this is a relatively healthy 49ers offense. I do believe McKinnon and Wilson and JaMychal Hasty, undrafted free agent, looked pretty sexy in his first couple of carries last week. I think Jeff Wilson Jr. is such an underrated player. The guy's got like 8 touchdowns in like 15 touches in the last 2 years. It's pretty crazy. But they still have so much talent. Getting Debo back, getting Kittle back, it's a relatively healthy offense. It's just the defensive side of the ball. They're without Richard Sherman. They're obviously without Bosa and Thomas for the year. I think Greenlaw is questionable. Their secondary is still very banged up, but there's just not enough threats on the Philadelphia offense for them to not overcome this. It's just being able to stay healthy for the 49ers right now.
Do you agree with the market move from 43 to 45.5 towards the over in this total?
The question is not whether the Niners can put up points. I have full faith that they can put up lots of points. It's just how bad is this Philadelphia offense? And the answer so far has been terrible, but it's hard to say. Like it's the Niners will do their part in hitting that over. It's just whether Philadelphia can muster anything. And frankly, even with all the injuries, the Niners, again, against weak opponents, but they have looked dominant against weak opponents.
They sure have. The team total for the Eagles is at 16.5. Niners team total is at 27.5. I should have pulled the trigger probably on the Niners earlier. I certainly am not going to take them at 9.
No, and we said that on the Tuesday show. The play was, if you want to, Prince of the City is right. The Eagles do stink out loud. The play was earlier in the week when Kittle and Debo were not yet a go, and as soon as those guys were announced healthy, money's got to come in on the Niners because that they're just so much stronger with those two guys out. Kittle obviously is one of the best players in the entire league, and the offense with him and without him is astronomically different. But again, Kyle Shanahan has found guys like Ross Dwelly. Ross Dwelly, third string tight end, was balling last week when Jordan Reed went out. So, man, Shanahan is just a phenomenal offensive mind. So that they're going to put up points. But the play was earlier this week when that number was much lower. Yeah, I still believe that they can win big. And again, this Philly team is bad, and like Prince in the City said, they're an awful team, and I still think we as fans of the game think the Eagles are not too far removed from that Super Bowl team, but they are so far removed from that Super Bowl team. And Wentz is, I feel for the guy because I like Carson Wentz, and he's having an MVP caliber season. He has the injury. He's come back. He's been streaky. He has looked so bad this year. I really hope, as a football fan, I want Wentz to turn it around and be good again. But so far, he's just looked terrible.
He sure has. That concludes Sunday's action. Let's move on to Monday's action. And that now includes Chiefs-Patriots. So I have the under 54. That's moved to 50. The Patriots-Chiefs are now 11-point favorites with everything going on right now with Newton out of the lineup. I still need to find out who else is going to be out of the lineup. Do you have an early take on this new line here for Patriots Chiefs? The total at 50. The Chiefs is 11-point favorites. What's your expectation of Stidham? Any early thoughts on this spot?
Well, the way I look at Stidham is they were sitting there all summer long without Cam Newton, and something made them go out and grab Cam. Now, obviously, they got him at a discounted rate, but they can't have much faith in Jared Stidham. Like initially, it kind of felt like they were going to roll with him. But this all comes down to Bill Belichick's ability to game plan for this team, and I'm sure he's had this Chiefs game circled on his calendar well ahead of this.
It's Hoyer. Hoyer is supposed to start.
Really? Yeah, I mean Hoyer's a terrible quarterback,
but he is. You know, I'll tell you what, Bebsy. I initially, because I have the under 54, I was like, you know what? I'd rather have. I know this may sound nuts, but I'd rather have Cam Newton in for my under than Stidham with the crazy asinine throws he makes. But now with Hoyer, that's perfect. This is a casher for sure. Hoyer's very conservative, won't make mistakes.
I just need one more person to write Hoyer instead of Stidham. Say it. One more person. One more.
This helps me.
Coming in hot on the comments. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Well, at least there's a more of a known entity in Hoyer over Stidham.
Yeah, this helps me. All right, we need more information on this. But
when was it announced? I was talking with our good friend Tim Golden, and he was talking about Stidham starting, and he's about the biggest Patriots fan I know. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Birdie and Nilo. It is official. Hoyer is in.
Okay, let's move on to the Monday Nighter we know about, and it's the Monday Nighter that you made a move on. Packers -7 for Bebsy. Packers -7. Now, if you let me just move over here. If you wanted this spot on the Packers, the 6.5s have touched the board here. 6.5s are now on the board for the Monday Nighter. Very, very, very interesting. I'm curious to what you think of this market move that's starting to come in, and would like to hear your thoughts on this spot. Things just keep getting worse for the Falcons. Another fourth quarter collapse. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. They're just destroyed by injuries. They played that game without 6 starters. So they had, and I've got the update on that. Let me move over here. So we know that, what is the update? The update is Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley are questionable. Tariq McKinley is out. And Ricardo Allen, AJ Terrell with COVID, he's a question mark. I guess we'll find out more on Monday. Green Bay, the first team in NFL history to have at least 35 points and no turnovers in each of their first 3 games, averaging 6.9 yards per play. Devontae Adams is still dealing with the hamstring. He got in limited practices all week. They're probably going to be without Christian Kirksey. So he's got the pectoral injury. But are you surprised that there's been a half-point move here on the Falcons?
I am and I'm not. I'm not surprised in the sense that it does seem like a large spread for a team that's been able to put up points at least. Yeah, they've had collapses, but they've been able to put up points and then stop putting up points and give up massive leads and completely and utterly shit the bed. But I said this on Tuesday. I'm saying this now. The Atlanta Falcons have too much dysfunction right now and too much. I don't know how you get up and play. I don't know if there's anything that Dan Quinn can say to that locker room right now to get them amped up to play a game after those colossal back-to-back bed shits. And on the other side of the ball, Aaron Rodgers is on an absolute warpath. Look, I criticized the draft of Jordan Love, and now I'm wondering if that's not the smartest thing that they have done, because Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind right now. He looks like 28-year-old Aaron Rodgers. He looks like Super Bowl Aaron Rodgers. He looks fucking phenomenal. And as a football fan, it is so much fun to watch him play, because we want to see these great players play. And it seems like, the last few years, Aaron Rodgers has kind of been like, fuck this team, I don't care. And now he's just like, I'm going to show you how good I am. And he has looked incredible. That's why I'm on Green Bay. So it's why I'm a little bit surprised that there's money coming in on Atlanta, and it's changing a little bit. But I'm also not surprised, because that spread is a bit high for a team that knows they can score. But defensively, they've been awful, and their second half collapses have been catastrophic.
It's been unbelievable. Unbelievable. There is your entire NFL card. Now we're going to move to best bets. So if your best bet here isn't available now, we will also ask you what is your best bet of action that is available now. Let's go over Bebsy's action here, and we'll go over mine for the entire card. Again, Bebsy sitting 13-4 on the season, up 8.33 units. Bebsy, favorite look on the board of your action. And again, if it's not available now, we'll switch one. Browns plus 5.5. Ravens first half team total over 14.5. Rams first half minus 6.5. Rams full game minus 12.5. Bills first half minus 0.5. And Packers minus 7. Why don't we go with what's your favorite bet on the board that you already have?
Well, my two favorite bets that I have right now are Rams and Bills first half, and they're kind of lockstep even for me. I think those are both easy plays. Obviously, the half point Bills is more intriguing, but that is obviously changed, and so is the Rams game. But I still think
what you get right now on that Bills that you got at minus a half, which is just unbelievable. You'd still get minus 1.5. You could get minus 1.5 at plus 100.
To me, that's still a very easy play. The way the Bills have been playing, and the fact that they are coming up against an underwhelming Raiders defense, it's still just very much in play for me. And then, man, the Rams should absolutely shit pump the Giants this week. So those to me are lockstep easy plays.
Now, for what's available right now, the Rams, we got 6.5. It's now 7.5. We got 6.5 on our Tuesday show, 8 p.m. Eastern every week. It's now 7.5. So with that being said, would you say the Bills first half minus 1.5 that's widely available is your best look on the board?
I can't see it not being the way that, again, Birdie was saying, just this team is learning how to blow teams out. The Bills are good. The Bills are a very, very balanced, talented football team this year. That to me is just a no-brainer pick. Even at 1.5, take it. That's free money.
Well, I'm not going to take it.
Do it, Jimmy.
I'm not going to take it. But I love that you're that confident in it. And again, Bebsy, 13-4 plus 8.33 units ROI at 49%. My action here. And
when will you learn to trust me, Jimmy?
There's no additions. I thought that I might add the Jags. I'm not going to add the Jags when I could have got them at plus 3. They're now plus 1.5. And then I thought I was going to add the Raiders at plus 3.5, and I'm not going to do that either. So I have Bears plus 2.5. That's my problem spot on the board because I could have got a 3 today. At that on Tuesday, I thought we saw 2s on the board, and I thought I was making a good move. Browns plus 4.5. That's gone way down. Dolphins plus 6.5. Ravens first quarter -3. Ravens first half -6.5. And then Patriots, Chiefs under 54. So I guess it's pretty easy for me to say that the Patriots, Chiefs under 54 is the best spot on the board. That's not available right now.
Who's starting quarterback for the Patriots in that game? Do you know?
Okay. And I would say that my favorite look that's still on the board, and let me make sure that it is here. Oh, it's not on the board. Damn. Okay.
Feels like a whiskey day, doesn't it?
My favorite spot that's still on the board. We beat these market moves so blatantly. Okay, so my favorite spot that's still on the board is Bears +3.
Jimmy, do you have something against free money?
I don't. I've had people say that to me before. You don't like money, Jimmy? What, you don't like money? I've had that said to me over and over.
Just take the Bills first half. Just do it.
Alrighty. There you have every single game broken down. Kickoff in 30 minutes. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show and hanging with us. Again, Tuesday night, 8 p.m., Sunday morning, 11 a.m. And check out odds.com. Follow them on Twitter at odds-110 for all of your needs. And we've got nothing without these great cappers in the chat. AJS, Damon Santori, Dan Kelly, Beach Boss, Nuke Worker, Ari Miller, Mike Norris, Viper MB, Overtime, Walter Trotter, a.k.a. Trotwam, Only Hunter, Birdie, Robert Cherry, Beach Boss, Overtime. And it's my birthday. Let's have some fun, man. And let's make some money.
Happy birthday, Jimmy, you fucking beaut, yeah.
Thanks, pal. Bebsy, any last words for these great cappers in the chat?
You guys make this shit fun. I'm sorry for what I say about Tom Brady each week, but stop reacting to it or I'm going to keep doing it. No, you guys are the best. Let's make some money today, gents.
Yeah. Let's get that cash. Let's shake. Hey, Los Bookmakers, let's go. Have a great, great, great Sunday, and I will see you guys again with Bebsy on Tuesday evening. Get paid in full.